Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is a little break from the norm. I'm heading over to meet an old friend and we're going to have a bit of a chat about endurance sports. My name's Paul and this is Paul Runs Daily. I've had the pleasure of training and racing with Scott for almost 15 years, and I've seen him develop as an athlete over those years. He's also a very modest man and he won't blow his own trumpet, so I'll do it for him a little. So for well over a decade and a half, Scott has been one of the most consistent athletes I've known. He's always training and he's always racing, and regardless of what's going on in the background, he'll always be out there, and he's showing absolutely no signs of slowing down. So let's go and meet him. Right, so here we are. I've just met up with Scott and we're going to have a chat about all things endurance. We're on the Leeds to Liverpool Canal. We're just going through Crook and we're heading towards Parbold Village. We'll be running for about, what do you reckon, about 90 minutes?
Yeah, 90 minutes, yeah.
And it's a very easy zone 1, zone 2 run. So Scott, or should I say El Presidente, tell us a little bit about your life. How did you, what sort of sports did you do as a kid?
Well, good morning everybody. Since a very young age, I was a swimmer for Wigan Swimming Club, which is now Wigan Wasps. From there transitioned into Rugby League, Horrell St James's and Wigan St Jude's. From there participated in Olympic wrestling. Never competed, just a training aspect, and absolutely loved it. Then from there, a mutual friend of mine and Paul's, he invited me down to Team True Spirit and to get involved in triathlons, and that was back 2013, 2014, and to this day I'm still involved in triathlons.
Gosh, was it so long ago?
It seems like a lifetime ago, but since then I've accomplished 8 Ironman 70.3s.
Well, let's not jump the gun too much. Let's not tell everyone about your achievements. Let's keep it back to
very proud of those.
Start. Of course you are, yeah. So when I first met Scott, I was working at the endurance store, and we'd recently set up a triathlon club under the name of Team True Spirit, which supported a group of injured servicemen and women to compete in the Ironman. And Scott came along as a pretty decent athlete, but I think he'll admit he wasn't endurance focused, and he was a very powerful chunk of a bloke, weren't you?
I think like they used to say at me, wrestling, I was like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah. So we couldn't get near him on the short punchy climbs, but on some of the longer rides it got a little bit tasty.
It did.
So if we go back to them first few rides, what was it, what sort of lit that spark for you? What got you into it as a long-term sport rather than just jumping on for a couple of sessions?
Getting out with like-minded individuals. Everyone's got their own story. Being active, healthy, helping other people. Endurance is something completely different. and I liked the aspect of it, and the structure to endurance, even though it took me a good 8-9 years to follow a structure.
Yeah, Scott was what we should say rather uncoachable in the early days, but it took him a while to get settled into the swing of things. And what he said there about the community aspect, at the time the endurance community,
Fantastic, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. Yeah, we had a huge group of athletes across a multitude of different clubs, and we all trained together alongside the endurance store and the triathlon hub. So let's move on to your racing career. You've hinted about your Ironman successes. So what was your first endurance race? Was it a triathlon, or did you do a bit of sportive racing first?
No, I jumped straight into the deep end in 2015 at Ironman Bolton, on one of the toughest courses that Ironman Bolton has put on.
And that's a full distance.
That's the full distance.
Ironman.
I hadn't done a sprint. Went straight into the full distance at Bolton.
I'll just jump in there, Scott. So at the time, that wasn't unusual. There were a lot of former rugby players
Yes.
coming into the sport. A lot of guys from Wigan Warriors were coming, getting bikes, getting into endurance and jumping straight into the Ironman scene. So I know it's probably something we would never recommend as a coach for people to jump straight in, but it was pretty normal. And what you've got to bear in mind is Scott had, quite an extensive sporting background, so he wasn't exactly coming in with zero experience, and he had a very, very good level of base fitness to start with. So I'll go and talk about that first Ironman event.
Well, as Paul mentioned, I was uncoachable, so I didn't have no structure. I was just going out, smashing each session really, all zone 4 stuff, smashing the hills in the morning, before work, after work. I was going out running, none of this zone 2, zone 1 stuff, but I love the training, getting out with the team. Definitely liked the Sunday rides, which was always well attended, weren't they, from the stag?
Oh, unbelievable. Up to 60 riders some Sundays. Just going out and absolutely smashing each other, didn't we?
Really good. Good, nice coffee stop at times during the winter season, and then we focused then trying to prepare for the race after Christmas.
So, thinking still about the first Ironman, have you got any memories from the actual race? Did it go as you planned it to?
No.
And what was your result at the end?
No, it didn't. It was planned. Within the first 5 mile, I had a broken wheel. Doing it for charity. I was in tears. The lad come out his house, give me a bike wheel. I'd wasted an hour and cracked on and completed the course. Got across the finish line. Wasn't what I wanted in the time wise. I don't know. I finished. Got to be 14 hours. But we're just glad to finish and overcome the adversity on the day with the broken wheel.
I think at the time there was a little bit of a toxic attitude towards finishing times as well, and I asked you the outcome, but it was a bit of a sort of double-edged question really. I was hoping you'd talk about how you felt in the outcome rather than the time. So I think that shows a little bit of a sort of overlap to that previous
there is
attitude towards time. I was guilty of it as well, and it's something I'd always look up results and compare my time, my bike splits, my run splits, and we got into that bubble. Whereas I think now it's totally different. We're asking people, did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
What did you get out of it?
You're absolutely right, and that toxicity is still a little bit there, but in a 1%. But back then, you get comments on social media, not a pat on the back or thumbs up, well done. What was your time? That's, to me, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there struggling with mental health. A lot of people need help. Sometimes rather go into this sport as a release, and then they're trying to overcome this toxicity.
And I think as a group of athletes we've learnt and we've all grown and developed, and I think the endurance community as a whole is a much better place to be in. Right, we move on to something a little bit more positive. So that's the first season out of the way.
First season, done and dusted.
Ironman UK.
Ironman UK, medal around my neck.
And then what happened next?
Well, for some strange reason after that, you seemed to rope me into an ultra, which was the OMG. And I actually put the t-shirt on yesterday, which still fits me.
Mine doesn't.
And that was great, weren't it?
Yeah.
Was it New Year's Day, was it? Boxing Day?
I think it was Boxing Day, yeah.
Boxing
Oh,
Day.
it was the day after Boxing Day, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. But it was in the middle of the Christmas festivities.
Yeah.
I think we'd all had a few drinks.
Yeah, so
well.
we did the OMG, that's in Oral. What a fantastic turnout, weren't it?
Yeah, really
absolutely great. Well attended, some good feed stations. So yeah, I went into an ultra marathon.
Yeah. So,
and again, no structure.
it was a bit of a theme, but it did get better. And I think because we were in such a sort of large group of athletes, we had a couple drop off after that first season. But then we picked up a few new faces.
We did, yes.
And we kind of, as a group, we moved on and developed. And I think we had a couple of years focusing on Ironman UK. And then people branched out into different events.
Yeah, so we transitioned over into Invictus Tri. A lot of new faces, again from different backgrounds. Some are doing track work. Some never done a triathlon or park run, so the club went in a completely different direction, but still going today. And good luck to Invictus. But for me personally, then I just carried on with the Ironman triathlons.
And it's taken you abroad as well.
It has, yeah. So I'm very proud of my second accommodation in Benalmadena, Arroyo de la Miel.
This is where the hint towards the El Presidente.
El
Go on, have a little
Presidente.
talk about that, pal. That's an interesting story.
So we're on a complex in Arroyo de la Miel, Pueblo Heladin, which it translates to the town of the garden. 134 properties from around the world. We have residents. 3 years ago I was asked to be the El Presidente, and since then the community was overwhelmingly kept me in that position, which is very challenging. The community is 25 years old. Needed a lot of work doing, which is mass investment. We're doing a lot of juggling, but we still continue to be a front runner in the community world, and we have actually other communities who are following the model that I've put into place.
Yeah.
So very challenging, and I have a fantastic team.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of visiting the complex a couple of summers ago, and it's a beautiful place, and it's quite obvious the amount of work that's been done in recent years to make the complex stand out amongst what is essentially a very beautiful area. So well done, pal. And you do that.
Yeah.
You're on that voluntary basis. Yes.
Voluntary role, yep.
You've got your full-time job.
Yes.
You're a family man, and you do that as a voluntary individual.
And triathlons, Paul. You
Of
forgot
course,
that.
yeah. Well, we're going to talk more about your foreign exploits. We'll just get past this dog. Morning.
All right.
So we're now over on the Costa del Sol,
Yes.
and talk about your first away Ironman.
So my first away Ironman was at the 2018 Marbella Ironman 70.3. The first edition. So I went over with a group of friends. Did a recce a couple of months before. Met up with a great guy, Chris Grenfell, who still keep in touch with to this day, who you've met.
Yep. Top
went
bloke.
to his villa. Went to his villa near Marbella. Absolutely fantastic training venue. And since then, I've completed the Ironman 70.3 Marbella 5 times.
5 times, gosh.
5 times.
Yeah, so that's an incredible achievement. And that's not your only European destination
No.
for Ironman.
No, so I travelled a little bit further to Valencia for the Ironman 70.3, Mallorca for the 70.3, and also Barcelona, Calila for the 70.3 there, which is an absolute fantastic course.
Superb. You've also done a couple of long course or full Ironman distance races overseas.
Yes, so
I don't want to talk about the most recent one just yet.
okay,
I want to save that for the end.
yeah, I've done a few full courses. That's totaling 7 now. 7 full courses in total, and I've got the book back for the full course.
So go on, we did, earlier on this year, Scott messaged, we've always trained, me and
Yes.
Scott together, always done a lot of running, but he messaged about wanting a little bit of help for a challenge he had over in Barcelona later on in what was this year, which was Ironman Barcelona, and you had a pretty lofty goal of getting a PB, didn't you?
Yes.
So go on, let's talk about that process.
So I contacted Paul earlier this year to say, look Paul, I'm back on the full course scene. First I had the 70.3 in Mallorca, which was fantastic prep, different gaming elevation. Mallorca went perfect to plan, got a PB, and then we dialed into Ironman Calila Barcelona. Had a very, very good structure, followed the plan for the first time in 10 years. Yeah, we got another PB,
Which was
it was 12:03.
fantastic.
But the goal was sub 12, and that was well within reach. It was a tough swim. Well, I was happy with the swim. I think I come out at 1:22. It was choppy, strong current. But a lot of people didn't want to get in. Oh,
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories.
I remember I looked at the waves. I thought, this is it. Went in. I was composed, really composed. Absolutely loved it. I loved the challenge. Got out onto the bike and 1 or 2 errors. A little bit of panic set in. The usual flying bottles, which happens to everybody else, actually happened to me within the first 2 minutes, where I lost my hydration. The spectator kindly picked it up, but tipped it upside down, and I lost all my hydration to the next feed station. That was that. And then I had a DI2 problem where the gears wasn't shifting, so when I look at the total time on my Garmin, the stoppage time was around 8.5, 9 minutes where I'd stopped, and subsequently that when at the end of the day I could have been a sub 12, but
Which in
you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've got to butt in there, bud, because I think you've basically been quite negative. What we've got to take from that is you were within 3 minutes of a goal, which, if we're quite honest, I didn't think you had a sub 12 in you, mate.
Yeah.
And I don't think you did really,
No.
deep down.
No.
And you came within 3 minutes of
Yes.
that. So, absolutely fantastic.
But one of the takeaways from that, I always remember, I'm coming back on the bike, it was 10 miles to go, and I'm thinking, I've got a marathon to do. Bike in, trainers in. Spent a long 9 minutes in transition. Felt great.
Yeah.
I felt absolutely fantastic. Out on the run, that positive lure is, I've got a PB on my marathon, you know, absolutely fantastic time, 4:26. A few toilet problems, into the cubicle a couple of times, but I felt great.
Yeah. You ran probably the most consistent marathon I've ever seen you do. Looking at your splits, I was dot watching the whole day, and that was one thing it came quite clear. Your splits were so even. We could see the times where you'd taken little breaks, but those aside, you know, you stuck to your plan and you absolutely executed.
Yeah, the plan was executed perfectly. The new course in Kalila, Barcelona, is absolutely fantastic. It was off the scale, Paul. The run course, support DJs all over. So that's a special credit to Ironman Spain and my good friend Auguste, who's put on a good show and continues to do.
Don't they organise a few other events over on
Yes,
on the continent? Yeah.
Yep. So they've just organised a few others, and obviously they've just had the World Champs 70.3 in Marbella as well.
Yeah, that was this weekend.
Which was fantastic. Huge turnout, and the actual town hall I went to, they're very thankful for the tourism that triathlon brings.
Yeah. So what's next for El Presidente, sporting wise?
Sporting wise, I had hoped to finish the year with Malaga Media Marathon in December at the 14th. I had registered for that, but unfortunately I have an operation next week, so I'll not be able to race that. So that's done and dusted. I'm not thinking about that. I will be there to support. Then 2026, I have some events in Spain again, which will be Torremolinos Media Marathon in February, and then Mallorca in May, Ironman 70.3, and then we're heading back to Ironman Kalila Barcelona in October. I've got to wait and see now when the date is for Ironman Marbella 70.3, and I'll also be back on that scene next year.
So another absolutely ram-packed season. So great. So right, Scott, we'll wrap it up there. It's been an absolute pleasure to have a proper catch up with you, and I think, if you don't mind, we'll catch up again in the winter and have a chat about how your off season's going.
Yeah.
And we'll put a little bit more meat into the forward planning of the season.
You have to use the word meat. You know, I've put on a chunky 5 kilograms, 6 kilograms since Kalila, Barcelona.
You deserve a break.
Yes.
And,
Dad.
You know, a lot of us endurance athletes, we do follow a bit of a Ricky Hatton diet. God rest his soul. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you've kept training even whilst you've been taking a little bit of a breather, and I still follow your Strava, and I've noticed you're getting out, you're commuting, you're running. So get your operation out of the way, and then we'll catch up in the winter.
And just before Paul turns off and edits, the Ironman saying is, anything is possible, and that's true. I was 110 kilogram last year, and I got myself down to 90 kilogram for Barcelona. So anything is possible. Believe in yourself. Join a club, get some friends there, community, and get out and enjoy yourselves.
And I'll finish the interview by just saying, if at first you don't succeed, try doing what your coach said in the first instance. Right, see you later.